And it's recording.
Recording progress. How cool is that? Hello, Jeanine. How's it going?
Hey, Ronan. Going good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Not a bother on me. Not a bother on me, as we say here in Ireland.
Sounds
And
like
how are things? How are things in sunny Florida?
things are great. Actually, the weather is beautiful. This is the time of year to live here. The humidity kind of drops a little bit, a little cooler in the morning, still warm during the day. So, but it get a little bit of break. It's our hint of fall. So I'm enjoying the weather.
You don't get fall in Florida, right?
No, we don't. We nothing. Palm trees don't change colors. So yeah, no, we don't get fall or anything like that. Uh, we just get hot. We have two seasons in Florida, hot and hotter. It's just a little bit less hot right now.
A bit like, hi Joel, how are you? Joel is in New Orleans, so they know that too.
Oh
Similar
yeah,
weather, isn't it?
they're very similar. They get hot and hotter as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good to see you, Joel. Good to have you here. Good to see you here, Elise. Come on in, guys. Introduce yourself in the chat.
Oh
Tell
yeah.
us tell us your name and tell us where you're from. We want to see you all. Tell everyone where you're from. Just make sure you're on everyone, because I think it might default to hosts and panelists. So do tell everyone. Hello, Sonia. Good to see you from California. It could be hot in California too, right, Jeanine?
Yes, depending on where. But California is nice. Like I used to go to San Diego all the time, and I would get, well, of course I'm a Floridian, so I get cold everywhere, but I would get downright cold in the evenings when I would go out there to visit.
All right. All right. And we've Misty. Oh, they're coming in quick and fast. Ray Lowe is here all the way. Hi, Ray. Good to see you. San Diego. And we have new Yeti's here. Hi, Yeti. Good to see you. We've Charlotte, North Carolina. Good to see you here. Danny, all the way from St. Louis. Ray Lowe from sunny England, but it's rain. Oh, Sonia is saying it's raining now, wherever Sonia is. Hello, Misty. Good to see you. So Misty was, Jeanine, we know Misty well, right? I know there's other BSA members in here too, but Misty was our first client using our online marketing funnels that we teach in BSA to get to 100,000 worth of business. And she did it in about 7 months, right?
She was really fast with it. She
She
ran some
knocked it out of the park.
funnels and really amazing promotions for her studio.
Knocked it out of the park. And for those who don't know, BSA is a sister of 3XM. So 3XM is the product piece, and BSA where we teach you the online marketing to generate those leads to come into your business. So Jeanine, you're a client of 3XM, right? That's how we got to know you first.
It is how you got to know me first.
2018, I think, was it? Imaging.
You know, we've tried to make out this timeline, and COVID messes me up. I lost a whole year of timelines, and I think it was 2018 at Imaging USA. Because you spoke that year, right?
Yes, for some reason you came to see me speak. Why would anybody do that, Jeanine?
I wanted to see the guy from Ireland, listen to your accent. So yeah, no, I went to go see you speak, and you were like that was back before they really had a really good business track. And I found your talk to be very inspiring about business, because that's always been the side of photography that appeals to me. I like the art of the business. And so hearing you speak, and then at that time, all of the album companies that I was using, that I used for my toddler plan and for my programs where I would have people add photos periodically, all went away. Like all of the slip-in albums gone, and so I was in a panic at that Imaging, because I had like 5 to 10 clients that I had to find a product for who would sign up for a plan, and I couldn't deliver them an album. So when I heard you speak and you talked about boxes, I was like, I gotta go meet this guy and find out about these boxes, because maybe this will be a solution for what I'm looking for. And the rest is history.
I remember you coming up to see me after the talk, and I think it was about 450 people in the room, because America, they do stuff big, right, at Imaging. It was the biggest crowd I ever spoke to at the time. And I remember you coming up and you saying, I'm not sure it was at the booth afterwards or was after the talk, but I remember you coming up and saying, I was at your talk, Ronan. I'm Jeanine. I never intended using a folio box, but I need you to tell me now how I can sell this. As you say.
It was
as you say.
Yes.
Yes.
It was at the booth.
And as you say, the rest is history.
The rest is
yeah. All righty. So you better tell people, first of all, a bit about your background, right? Because you've been in the industry for quite some time, even before you set up a studio. So just tell us about that and, the advantage that that brought to you, because you used to visit photographers for a well-known album company in the US who are no longer with us.
Yes. So I used to work for Art Leather. I was the Florida sales rep for Art Leather for several years. And so it was very interesting entering the industry from the vendor point of view. I always did photography. It was something that I always dabbled in, and actually ran a small wedding business up in Atlanta before moving back home to Florida. But mainly my entry into the industry was as a vendor. And so I sold Art Leather albums and GMP frames for almost 5 years. And it was awesome. I gotta say, being in the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s, with a company that at the time was still doing a lot of travel. So I would travel all over the US with our sponsored speakers. And I got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the photography industry, what people did well, how people were making money, and how people were not. And slowly started taking a lot of mental notes. And as it became quite obvious that Art Leather was going to be going away, I was like, you know what? I can do this. And that's sort of when I decided that I was going to switch from being in the vendor side of things into owning a photography studio. So, but yeah, so it was very interesting. I knew how to sell an album, Ronan. I could sell an album. And so when all those albums went away, it was like very sad for me, trying to find a replacement for this concept that I had that I sold really well, which were these birthday plans that people would add to year over year.
Okay. So, and I know we're talking about the holiday season or the Christmas season, right? And how you can sell more and the unique way you approach this. So much so that you have Christmas in July that we'll talk about in a little while. But before we do that, I just want to give people just a better introduction to your studio and your business, right? Because I was really impressed when you allowed me underneath the bonnet of your business, right? Just to see what you'd done with it and how you'd figured it out and how you'd figured out so many of the things that we teach. You knew exactly who your ideal client was, right? So can you and you knew where you wanted to position your business, because we teach all the time about, it's great to pick a brand that you admire and say, I am we say, Apple of photo presentation products, right? And that's our brand positioning statement. So we can see how Apple do things, and we want to be the Apple of what we do within our industry, right? And you then knew your ideal client, but just talk to us about your brand positioning statement first, and then we can talk about your client and how you figured out how to keep the same client base coming back over and over and over again. So just tell us your brand positioning statement first.
So I am the Disney of children's portrait photography. So when you say Apple is yours, Disney is my total inspiration. And it's not only because I'm 45 minutes away and can go whenever I want. It's because they truly do everything the way it should be done, and specifically for my client. Everything is over the top. Everything is from the littlest detail. Walt Disney's whole idea was you want people to come back and you want them to bring their friends, right? If you do what you do so well that when you do it, it makes people want to bring their friends back. And that's how Walt Disney built Disney, right? He built the experience so that people travel from all over the world to Florida to come here, to go to Disney and spend their life savings to come here. So I don't take it for granted at all that I'm only 45 minutes away. It's something that I do treasure, but the way it is that my inspiration is for everything. And if you've ever booked a Disney vacation, even though this is how I started doing my invitations for my sessions and my session confirmations, was when I decided to actually go through the whole process, right? It was about 7 years ago. I'm like, you know what? I say I'm the Disney and I do everything in the studio like I'm Disney, but I need to actually book a vacation instead of just going to the park, because I never stayed at, why would I stay in a resort? I live right here. So I booked a whole package, and I wanted to experience it, write it off as market research, and did the whole experience. So what arrives in the mail, you get a custom map with your name on it, right? It's a map of the Magic Kingdom. It has, Jeanine McLeod and the name of my kids, and it was direct. Everything in the packet that I received in the mail was personalized, and I was more excited about going to Disney when I opened that letter, and my kids got that packet too. And it helped to build the excitement for the trip. Not that you need help with the excitement of getting your kids to go to Disney, but this was even more so. Your magic bands arrive, like everything arrives in this little pack. And so, and I was like, man, that's a step I'm missing in the studio. I need to add that excitement level when I'm sending out my session confirmations to my clients, so that they get that excited that as I got, and it just adds a different level of excitement when they're getting something like that in the mail.
So if anyone has a question as we go, right, just put it in the chat and we will get to them. I promise we'll get to your questions. So Jeanine, the other thing I was impressed with was how you understood the concept of lifetime value, right? LTV, we call it in the business world, what a client is worth for their lifetime in dealing with you, right? And you're one of the few photography businesses that I've seen have got their head around this, right? Because I see a lot where a lot of photographers are chasing, a once-off sale for $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 or pounds or euro, whatever it is, as distinct from your approach was bring the client back over and over and over again. And that client, I think the last time you told me was worth just north of 25,000 US dollars, the lifetime value from when they come into your world as a client to when they tend to leave when that child is a high school senior, right?
Right. Very sad for me when they leave. But no, it's sad but joyous because it's really neat when they come in. I actually just had a senior it was like a month ago, and they brought with them, it was the sweetest thing. They brought their 2-year portrait I had done off their wall. Like it was this big frame thing from GMP, which is kind of funny. And Robin Gross recognized the frame. She commented on my Instagram. She's like, I remember that frame 15 years ago. Anyways, they brought it because they thought it was so cool that the same person who photographed him when he was 2, and throughout the years photographed him for his final portraits as a child, his senior portraits. So it's an amazing feeling to be that photographer that captures a child's journey through childhood.
And we talk about, knowing your ideal client gold avatar, because marketing is like mining, isn't it? It's like, it's panning for gold, right? And that's why we call them client gold avatars. So talk to me about how you know who is your ideal client gold avatar. You've figured this out, right, in minute detail.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I can figure it out usually in that first conversation and the first session. And there's a couple of things that I'm looking for. For me, my ideal client's a working mom, always has been. The working mom or the grandparent. Again, living in Florida, I have a lot of grandparents here. And so it's really nice when grandma is the one footing the bill for everything and bringing the grandchildren. So, but it is a working mom who's busy. And so she is usually juggling all the activities of her kids, whether this be her first baby and she's trying to juggle going back to work because she's knowing. So that's the first question I always ask, and I slide it in. I'm like, oh, so how long is your maternity leave? When are you going back to work? And if they tell me, oh, they don't work or they're not going back to work, I'm like, oh, that's okay. Where's grandma? And so my ideal client is definitely the working mom and one who is very involved. So as they get older, and out of the baby stage, my mom is usually the PTA mom. She's usually has her hands involved in all those aspects, which is great because she makes for very good referrals that way because she deals with all the other moms. And having her own money is really important. And I find that I get a lot less price resistance and a lot less I have to check with my husband because she makes her own money and her money is what is being used to buy the photography. So but that really is the driving, I could go into a lot more detail, but the driving factor number one is that she's a working mom. And there's for any working moms out there, moms deal with guilt in all sorts of ways, right? Stay-at-home moms have their guilt. because should I be working? Am I setting a good example for my kids? You know, this and this and that. Working moms have their guilt because am I spending enough time with my kids or am I working too much? So no matter what it is, as a mom, you have guilt, but it's the working mom guilt that works for me, for the studio, because they want to spend money on portraits. They have the money to spend on portraits. And now they're surrounding themselves in their home of happy memories of their kids. And those are shared experiences and magical experiences because we do all the themes, right? So they're having those magical memories made with their kids. It's like taking them to Disney. They're just doing it here.
Okay, and we will get to your question, Claire, because I think that'll come out, your question will come out as we develop more deeply into these conversations. So Jeanine, you said something there that's really important, right? So can you just talk to me about your client when they start with you, right? And then how then you took that and then you developed teams for them, very much like Disney would have, you know, an experience. You developed experiences suitable for the children as they grow, right?
Yes.
And we'll get to the holidays then, because holidays is part of this. But can you just talk to us about how when they start with you, because you don't do newborn, right? Or it's not your choice to do newborn unless it's a second or third child of someone who's an existing client, who's a great client. But you tend to take them when they're that little bit older. Just talk to us about that journey, how you bring them into your world, and what the experience is like, and then we can just develop the ages out a little bit, and then we get to holiday and Christmas.
Yeah. So pre-COVID, most of my sessions were coming in baby milestones like that. I have a couple of entry points into the studio, but the main one was the baby plan. And as good as our baby plan entries were coming, that I could always tell how the year was going to go. And so I would take them in at 3 months. Pushing up. I'm not a big fan of the newborn. So I'm a time for money type person. So I don't like 3-hour sessions. I prefer 45-minute sessions. But anyway, so 3 months is where we started. And we would bring people in for 3 months, 7 months, and then 1 year. Then even before COVID, I really started getting a lot less baby clients and a lot more smash cake clients. And Smash Cake first year started becoming more of an entry point into the studio, not necessarily the baby. And I think maybe a lot of newborn photographers around here they would do the newborn and then the parents didn't feel the need to come for the baby, but then they still had that need for the 1 year. I own firstbirthdayportraits.com. So people who search for first birthday portraits, I tend to come up. And so I do get a lot of inquiries for first birthday portraits. And so that has become the key entry point for the studio, is at their first birthdays. And so first birthday, and what's nice about that is a first birthday is a great way to have an over-the-top experience, right? We have birthday signs, we have the packet that goes into the mail is all about the birthday and the celebration, and then we have the balloons and we have the cake, and it's themed to match whatever theme they want, and it's a big experience. We have a little t-shirt for the kid to take home and a little rubber ducky with it. You know, I mean, there's just all sorts of fun things that we do. And so it makes it a way to introduce them to the concept that this is a place that you come. And not only do we create the portraits, but you create the memories while you're here of the portraits as well. So I want it to be a fun, like, and it's interesting because I was in some business marketing course a couple years ago, and somebody said to me that we were all brainstorming about our elevator pitches. That's what it was. It was KPI. It was the Daniel Priestley course. We were working our elevator pitches, and one of the guys said, "Man, you must have a hard time as a photographer, because my memories growing up of photography studio sucked. My parents would drag us to Sears. It was horrible. My mom would yell at my dad. My dad would yell at us. We'd be in the van. It was just torture going to have our portraits made." He's like, "How do you overcome that?" And I was like, "Really? That's your memories of going to a photographer?" And then I thought, wow, I wonder if that's other people's memories too. And so if they grew up hating the whole idea of going to a photography studio, that I had to overcome. And so I changed my elevator pitch to being like, when you come to our studio, it's a magical experience. And when you walk through the doors, and so I changed all of our messaging to be that this is the experience you can expect. This is not Olin Mills or Sears or whatever it is that people had stuck in their minds from childhood of what a photography studio experience was.
And that's key, because but it's not just about the words in your case, Jeanine, because it's definitely everything you do is an experience, right? Right down to even the T-shirt you wear, right? So like you're wearing your Christmas one now, right? Santa's
We're
helper.
talking holidays today, right, Ronan? So it's my Santa helper.
Exactly, but everything you do. So even when you do your wizarding sessions, right? Like the studio is decked out as an experience, as if, okay, it's not to the Disney level, right? Because it's an
within my
experience over
budget.
the weekend.
Right. It's
It's
within my
within your
budget.
budget. But to the kids, it's even more, because like they're mixing their own magic potions, and they're, but everything, even the invitation you send them, because I'm not a Harry Potter person, right? And it's not themed Harry Potter, because that would be breaking copyright. It's
That would be
themed,
breaking trademark and copyright. It's not
exactly. It's wizarding themes, right? But anyone who's read Harry Potter will make a connection somehow, right? So, but even the children who do it, and I've seen your work in this area, like the excitement, and they're literally making the potions themselves, and there's smoke coming out, and there's all that stuff going on. But even the invitations you sell, just remind me what it's called. It's
the owl post.
The which?
The owl post.
Okay, I'm not a Harry Potter person, so but my son goes mad because he's a lunatic Harry Potter person. But so the owl post, but everything is themed, right? So even when they come in to the studio, everything is themed. And the same way when you do your dinosaur sessions, right, for the slightly younger children, there's dinosaur footprints, and there's, like, it's not just about putting them in front of a green screen, right? And Harry Potter's not Harry Potter wizarding sessions is not a green screen, right? It's a whole experience, and everything is built around it. Isn't that correct?
And it is. And someone had mentioned that they have a hard time keeping clients past 5. And I'll tell you, let me tell you how I came up with these ideas and why the experience kind of transformed being able to keep clients past that toddler age. Once kids start having an opinion, it becomes you're working against that, right? Because parents want to take their kids to do things that the kids want to do. And honestly, a lot of children aren't changing as much once they get past 5. And so you kind of have that from 5 to 8, they kind of look the same, from 8 to 10, they kind of look the same. The tweens kind of look the same. And so you're not going to get an annual birthday portrait, but, and I started doing wizards when my daughter turned 7 or 8, and she didn't want to come to the studio anymore. She's like, Mom, it's boring. You just take pictures of me. And I'm like, well, if I can't excite my daughter, then something's wrong. And that's when I started thinking, like, what could I do that would excite her and make her want to come, and then make the parents want to come bring her. So that's when she was into Harry Potter and reading all the books and seeing the movies. And we went to Universal, and I was like, I bet. I'm like, Erin, would you love to dress up like a wizard and do, like, pretend to be Hermione and take portraits like that? And she's like, oh my God, Mom, that would be amazing. Like, could I have magic? And so I'm like, yeah, let's, so when we were at Universal, I bought her a robe and we got a wand, and I took her in and we started playing with some the idea. And so then I started that first year. So it's been 7 years now. That first year, it was a very simple concept. I was just going to have them, again, I wasn't totally thinking as I am thinking now. And I'll tell you, it was Erin who changed it, because when I told her what we were going to do and I took the sample images, she's like, well, Mom, but what are the kids going to do? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they're going to take pictures and they're going to wave their wand and we'll add the magic. And she's like, that's boring. Like, you need to make them do something, Mom. Like, it's Harry Potter. Like, have them do something. Like, what if you had them make potions? So she's the one who said it. And so I'm like, yeah. And then I ran with it. And I was like, and that really was the light bulb moment for me that changed everything. And so from 5 years old on, all of my sessions that are themed are truly interactive and immersive. And there's something for the kids to do. And I do a whole storyline that I mock up, and I take the kids through a whole story. And so now they're doing something, they're having fun. And it allows me to sell, I told you I can sell an album. So it allows me to sell themed storybook albums from those sessions, because we've told a story. and the kid has acted out the whole story. And they love it and they have fun. And then guess what? They're all age appropriate, right? And they're all coming of age type things. So kids that are 7 to 10 are obsessed with Harry Potter and wizards. So kids that are 7 to 10 come in for those sessions. Dinosaurs, that's like kids 3 to 7. You know, that's when they're obsessed with dinosaurs at that age. There's different ages and stages where kids go through very common obsessions. Princesses, dinosaurs, wizards, you know, and so like you can figure out what those are and then you just build an experience around it.
I think your new one for this year was for slightly older kids, right? When you did the Minecraft.
Yes.
And your
go ahead.
And your Minecraft was really interesting because this was the one place where you could actually use the brand's name because they promote it. So
yes,
you've got
can. Yeah. So Minecraft Studios, yeah, they allow you to use their name because they feel that it promotes their brand. Gee, what a concept, right? So you're actually allowed to use, you have to add something to it. So I did crafting, I did Minecraft or crafting on Cloud 9, the Minecraft sessions, right? And so, but it was because older kids, again, the preteens, the tweens, they're so ornery. And, you know, they're into what they're into and, you know, they've outgrown wizards and they're not into that. Like, what is it that they're into? Well, they're into video games. And Minecraft is like, they're obsessed with it, obsessed with Minecraft. And so, yeah, so again, it was another one of those things. Originally, I was like, well, I guess I can't think of a way to do this without doing green screen. But then I'm like, I can't do green screen because these kids are not going to be excited to just, hey, stand here and we'll put a background behind you. So we were crazy and we made a lot. We made a lot of blocks. So we made the Minecraft blocks. So if you look at the pictures, those are actually there and they could build their own set. And that's what we did. So we got 14-inch boxes from Uline and did a ton of them and then and wrapped them up in the different types of blocks that you have in Minecraft and filled the studio with them. And then the kids could come in and build their own set. And then we took them through a storyline after they built their set. So that got the teenagers liking to come and having fun with their sessions. So you just have to think like, what is it that the different ages are into and what will excite them and then build an experience around it. And now see and this is the beauty of it. And this is what gets me so excited, especially as a parent, is that it's one thing to remember looking back at your photos, what your child looked like. It's another thing to remember what they were obsessed with. And as much as you think that you'll remember, oh, you know, my kid loved Mickey Mouse at 3 and really liked this cartoon and really like, you know, you might remember some of it, but you're not going to remember all of it. And you don't have the portraits to remind you, but to have portraits that not only show you what they look like, but also what they were obsessed with at that age, to me, tells a more complete story of their childhood.
So just to take one example of those, right, just to talk about the story. So let's just talk about the wizarding sessions in terms of, you know, what the parents say to you, even when they've got children who aren't quite at the age, because you only do it at a certain age, right? But what they say to you about, you know, what their love of Harry Potter was and what they want for their children from your wizarding sessions.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. You know, it's funny. For those of you who are Harry Potter fans, most of my clients are like, if their kids are 5 to 7, they're in their 30s, right? Maybe early 40s, but mostly mid to late 30s, which meant that they read Harry Potter as they were coming out, right? Or had just come out. So they grew up reading Harry Potter, and then they saw the movies. Then they went to Universal, right? We live here in Florida. So they did all of those things as they happened. And for them, all of them, even me with my kids, I couldn't wait. And I didn't grow up reading Harry Potter. I got into it when books 5, 6, and 7 came out. So I was one of those crazy people at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million at midnight because it was pre-Amazon, right? At midnight, we were at the bookstore waiting to get the books, right? So that was back in the day when you had to stand in line for things and you couldn't order it online. So all these parents have always shared with me that they couldn't wait for their kids to be old enough to read Harry Potter. And you hear that from a lot of parents because they want to share that experience with them. It was book series that got them loving reading, got them interested in this fantasy world. And now they want to share that with their kids, and they can't wait for their kids to be old enough. And if you Google it, people always ask, how old, what's the right age to start introducing Harry Potter to your kids, right? It's a coming of age. And so when people have to wait for something, when people have to aspire for something, they will spend more money on it. And it becomes something more, it's a rite of passage, right? Going to Universal Studios, even for us Floridians, it's a rite of passage. It's freaking expensive. You know, you have to buy both parks, and it's this. I mean, you'll spend a good $1,000 just going over there for the day. So it's a rite of passage that people want to pass on to their kids, and they're willing to spend money to do it. And so it's and now, so the beauty of the storybook, and this is what I've had clients say to me too, is, you know, I grew up reading the books. My child is now reading the books, and guess what? Now she has a storybook of her being a wizard. So when she gets older and her kids start reading Harry Potter, she can show them the book of her being a wizard. Right? And it's that future pacing, and it ties it all together. And I mean, how can you not spend that how can you not buy it when that's the case? When you've waited for so long for your kids to be old enough to read this book that you were obsessed about. Star Wars is the same way, by the way. It's another rite of passage that people can't wait for their kids to be old enough to share Star Wars with.
So you can't call it Star Wars.
No, we call it Space Day Portraits.
Space Day Portraits. Excellent. So you provide these experiences to families, and you develop them out for the kids as they grow, and that's where this lifetime value comes in, right? That they start with you as a toddler or a cake smash or whatever that is, and use something for that family all the way through then until they do, as they do in a lot of the US, the high school seniors before they go off to university, right?
Right.
So you've all these things, but not all of the themes are linked to things like, you know, a wizarding session or whatever. You also link it to times of the year, right? So I was fascinated by this, right? Because I'd never seen this before, but you have persuaded your clients to decorate their home and change the photographs they have on display depending on the time of year. So let's just talk about Halloween. So just tell us about where you got this idea. Was it Hobby Lobby, or where's the store that you can go in and you can decorate a room in for the kids?
Hobby Lobby's one of them. I mean, there's several. Yeah,
okay.
There's several, but Hobby Lobby is definitely a big one.
So you have persuaded your clients to decorate their homes at the time of year with the portrait experience that you created and captured. Just talk to us about that a little bit before we talk about holidays and Christmas.
Yeah. So of course, you know, the downside of seasonal themes is that if you don't have something to sell, right, what are they going to buy? And if you don't have something to sell, that's often when you get the, can I just buy some digital images question, right? Because they don't really know what to do with them. They love the idea. Oh yeah, I want to get some Halloween portraits, or oh yeah, I want to get these, but what am I going to do with them? Right? And so if they don't have anything to do with them, that's when they end up just wanting to collect a bunch of digital images. So I realized that pretty early on. I'm like, God, I got to come up with something to sell, because if I don't have something to sell, then there's no point in doing these sessions. So people who like to decorate their homes, they decorate, you know, and my ideal client does decorate their home for each season, right? So they'll do the Valentine's Day decorating, and then they do Easter, and then they do 4th of July, and then they'll do fall, and then they'll do Halloween, and then they'll do Thanksgiving, and they'll do Christmas. So well, I was like, well, listen, you know, what if the portraits we create become part of their decor, right? And so we sell them several different pieces. One of them being the magnetic frame that you do. It happens to work really well for this. And every season the frame stays there. They change out the photo that goes in it, right? So now it serves two purposes. One, and I love this as a mom, I truly love doing this. Every spring, all of my little picture frames, my 5x7s, my 8x10s, my magnetic frame, we do these 4x10 designs. I have some 10x10 bubbles, things like that. Every spring, all throughout my house, I change them all to all of Aaron and James's pictures from the past 14 years of baby duck portraits. And so as a mom, I'm like, oh, look, that was Erin when she was 2 with the ducks, and the ducks were almost as big as she is. Oh, look, there's, and it floods back all those memories of spring from the past years of your kids, right? And then come summer, I change all the frames aren't moving. They're just all there. Just the images flip out, right? So now it's all the 4th of July pictures, and all summer, it's all of the 4th of July pictures from or as our British friends call it, Treason Day. So it's Treason Day photos from all the past, so many years. And then we get to Halloween, and they switch out all the Halloweens. Now you get to see parents over here spend a ridiculous amount of money on Halloween costumes. Why aren't we taking like good pictures of them, right? Instead of the crappy ones right before they go trick-or-treating. So yeah, he's like, I love that sound effect. So now, like, same thing. So you go, and it's the beginning of October. There you go, Yeti. You change out all your photos to all of the ones of your kids in their Halloween costumes throughout the past years on the Halloween set. And then, a couple of weeks later, you change them all to your Christmas photos and the Christmas packs, which we'll get here. So now it gives you something to sell. And we create collages that match each of the themes with the year on it, because again, parents swear they'll never forget what year something happened, but they always do. And so, it has the year, baby ducks, spring, 2018, Halloween, 2015, whatever it is. And so the year is on there. And guess what? When you have the years on there, you don't miss a year. You don't miss a year, because you're not going to put on all your photos and to be like, oh man, why was I a bad mom in 2017 and didn't bring my kids in for Halloween pictures? It doesn't happen unless there's something truly unusual. People don't skip because they don't want to miss the collection that they're building over the years. They just don't skip.
But we do have to remind them, right?
We do have to remind them, yes.
They're not going to take action on their own typically. So we do have to remind them. So let's just talk about, how let's just take, because we're talking holiday, right? And Christmas.
Yes.
So let's just, and all of your marketing changes depending on the theme and everything else. But let's just talk about how who's a good client and who's a bad client, and how you use that, and how they always feel special, and they're the first ones to know. So let's just talk about Christmas in July, right? I see all the time, Jeanine, when people start talking about Christmas in September, and I'm going, really? September? And then you told me you do Christmas in July, and I'm going, come on, July? Like, we haven't even had summer holidays yet.
I do, I know. So Christmas, obviously for me, is huge. My target client are, children under the age of 10 for the most part. And so these are clients who come every single year for Christmas, right? But back in the early days of the studio, I wanted to make sure I secured them as coming in for Christmas. And so I decided to try and market before any other photographer in the area. Runner, are you frozen? Oh no, you're there. Okay. Sorry, you looked very still for a moment. You had me worried.
I was reading the chat to see what's
Oh, okay. You weren't blinking. I was like, oh my God. So I came up with this concept of doing Christmas in July. And what I did was I wanted to make sure that my existing clients, 1, felt special, 2, got their Christmas session booked at the times that they wanted before anybody else, any new clients were able to book sessions. And then 3, I need money in July. So, there's plenty of money in November, but July isn't, it's 100 freaking degrees in Florida. No one's doing anything. So I wanted to try and get money into July. So we started Christmas in July about 13 years ago. And now everybody knows. It's just on all my existing clients, I actually have clients who schedule their vacations around Christmas in July and not missing it. But we send out invitations to our VIP clients. So the Christmas in July open house is during a set number of hours. And what we do is we're not photographing that day. We set up previews of all of our Christmas sets, right? So it also does kill me when people on the photography groups, it's like September, October, trying to figure out what to do for Christmas. I'm like, oh dear God, are you kidding me? I've had that plan since January. But anyways, so in July, we set up mini versions of the sets in the studio. And clients come in open house style. They take a tour of all the different sets that we're going to have, and then choose their favorite, pick their date, pick their time, pay for their session, and then we do Cloud $9. And it's the only time of year. And if you don't come, you don't get it unless you're one of my 5 VIP clients who know that they can call me that day if they're out of town, and I'll still do it. But everybody else, it's only that day. And they're actually built sets, Stacy. So we build them. If it's something that I'm not going to be able to fully build in July, I'll do a mini version. So I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I did a Snoopy set. And I built a giant doghouse, and it was a Peanuts Christmas, right? So the kids were in the doghouse. On top of the doghouse, we had a Snoopy tree. I obviously wasn't going to build that giant thing and store it for 6 months. So I made a mini version of it. And when you build a reputation with your clients that your sets are going to be awesome, you don't actually have to truly build it ahead of time. You can do a mini version and be like, trust me, it's going to look amazing. It's going to be a giant doghouse. And I know this is a small one, but it's going to be so your kids can sit in it and sit on it. And this is what we're going to do. And people are like, oh my God, I love Snoopy. We're definitely going to do this, you know? So they're mini versions of the sets is what I set up. And then we do the Cloud $9 too.
So the Cloud $9 are, you know, if I buy $500 today, I get $600 worth of value, right? It's not
Correct.
discounting.
It's not discounting. They're pre-buying. So for every $100 they pre-buy, up to 400, they get an extra 25 to spend. So they can earn up to a free $100 to spend in November. And that's how we do that. And so most people max it out and do 400. And then they end up spending more, obviously, because most of the money spent, money forgotten kind of concept.
And I also know the questions that are there. People have this visualization there that you have a massive studio with 6 different sets all going at the same time. So we better explain the detail behind that, that's not the case, right?
That's not the case. So that's why I have to have people sign up. So my studio, I only have room for 1 set at a time, right? I don't have a warehouse. I wish I did. It would be nice, but it is what it is. So I have my 1-ish area that I can shoot in. Now I can shoot both directions, but I can only set up one of these big sets at a time. So I do 1 each weekend in November. So every weekend in November is a different theme. And then I have 1 side shooting area that I can set up a smaller theme, and then I leave that up all of November. But that can only be booked on a weekday because obviously the weekends are done with themes. So that's kind of what we do. So they come in and they pick which set, which weekends. And so that whole weekend is just that theme.
So here's what I love, right? You're building scarcity as well, and you're time bounding it. So when your clients come in and they fall in love with a theme, and it's your VIP clients who are in first, they've the first dibs, the first choice, and they see a set they want, you might have, is it 10 sessions a day for the 2 days over the weekend? Is it 8 to 10?
15.
15 a day or over the whole weekend?
A day.
15 a day. Okay, so there's 30 sessions for this theme, and it's going to be on this Saturday and Sunday, the first week of November. And when it's gone, it's gone. And when the places, when the number of availability is gone, it's gone.
Yep. Right? Set comes down, next one goes up.
So when they're there in July and they're walking around and seeing the mini versions of the theme, they also know they have to make their decision quickly for which one they want, right? Because there's this number of sessions available, and that's it. And when they're gone, they're gone.
Right. Especially if they have toddler age kids, because everybody's kids nap at the same time. So those morning sessions book fast, very fast. That's when most toddlers are happy. So those morning sessions book, and that's why my VIP clients come early, and they want to come early because they want to get those first picks. Everybody wants 10 a.m. And so it's if they know they need a 10 a.m. slot, they want to get in there first so they can pick their slot on their favorite set.
Okay. And you also talk about this concept of, you have to capture images and relationships and memories and all that relate to a product, right? So you have a product in mind for each of these experiences, right, that you want to sell.
Yep, I do. And so that's always how I come. I won't do a theme if I can't think of something to sell from it, right? Because what's the point? And so I always come up with a product, and I shoot for that product, right? So if it's Space Days and I know I'm going to do a movie poster, not necessarily a storybook, I shoot for the movie poster. I shoot specific poses so I can make their movie poster, and that's what they know they're going to buy. And so every different theme has a different concept of what that product will be. And so for Christmas, obviously, you know, I like to do my things that they can distribute around the house. Christmas does happen to allow for larger portraits, because people will, and I've trained them, you know, you can take down other portraits for a month and put these up, right? So they'll take down and put up some of their favorite key ones over the course of the, you know, years. Maybe it be a Santa, or maybe it be just a favorite theme that they happen to have loved. And so the Christmas, you want me to talk about the box now?
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, that's because you use this in a different way, right? Or a different concept.
Yeah.
And I love it because you talk to it.
Yeah. So, okay. So as we know, I like to come up with ideas that make clients feel like they need to come back, right? That was the whole toddler birthday plan idea. And when I couldn't do the album anymore, I started doing the folio box. And then I don't remember where we were, Ronan, and you had this red box, and I'm like, and someone was talking about it from Boudoir, and I'm like, Boudoir, that is totally a Christmas box. And I'm like, oh my God, how come I never thought about this? And how did I not know Ronan had a red box? So when I saw the red box, I instantly thought Christmas, and it's the perfect place for people to store one image from every year, right? Again, can't miss a year if you're filling a box. So this box, oops, don't look at that. They normally stick. It just must have. This box, and this is actually one of my VIP clients, and it's the sample box I had made from her kids. So it's, I can't see my camera here. Hold on, because I have the chat in the way. So basically the idea is that it's, you know, can you see these? It's her kids, and this is what my clients do. So every year, it's the kids, oops, right? Florida Christmas, that was a fun one. Very bright. Oh, and then it's empty. But the idea is that every year they purchase one image to go in the box. And so it's a 20 image box. Maybe one year they have two, or they have two kids, and so it's going to end up spanning over 20. But that's the idea, is that they fill it and then they store this, and then every Christmas when they pull it out, they're adding to it, and again going through the memories of Christmas past, which is always, our memories of Christmas past are always better than the memories of Christmas present, right? So it's the memories of Christmas past that keep the magic of Christmas alive. And so it's so easy to sell this box, because parents love this concept of being able to collect their memories and not having to do a scrapbook, right? Who has busy moms, working moms don't have time to scrapbook, but love the idea of the scrapbook of how can I keep all my memories in one spot. My mom still has her Christmas scrapbooks from when I was growing up, and it is fun to look at, and it's fun to show my kids. Well, busy working mom doesn't have time to do that. So busy working mom buys folio box and adds a photo every year and takes care of her need to make sure that she's captured those memories.
And if you've busy working mom, right, there, and with two children, there's three sales, right? There's mom who'll want maybe her box of the two kids, but then of course, isn't it lovely to have a box for each individual kid?
Yep.
So that when they grow up and leave home, they say, bring this with you. Here's a gift for you,
right?
of your Christmas.
As opposed to my mother, who's like, you can pry this out of my cold dead hands. That's what she tells me.
Yes.
But yeah, someone asked, this is my sample, and then they can put their name on the bottom. So I have two versions that I sell, Believe in the Magic of Christmas, and then their family name. And then I also have the family names, Christmas portraits or Christmas memories or something like that. So there's two things that can get imprinted on it. And then what was I going to say? So what did someone ask? How did you?
Amy asked, so which is a great question. So just pricing and how you do it, and how do you? Okay, so they buy the box the first year, right?
I sell the box empty.
You sell the box empty for a price, right?
Yeah.
And then when they come in for the session, you're not just selling the image for the folio box, right? You're selling the other products that you've developed out for Christmas as well.
Correct. So if they bought the box, what I tell them is they lock in the price of what a matted 6x8 portrait will be for life. right? So whatever it is now, that's what they'll get, and it's marked in their account. So if the price of our matted 6x8s go up, they'll always get this price. And then, but they get the box and it's empty, except for their image that goes in it. And then, so yeah, they're paying for the box, and then every year they add to it. Now, everyone I've sold so far has been a backdated box. Does that make sense? So
no.
Everyone I have sold so far has been to existing clients who have been in for like 4 or 5 Christmas sessions. So they've bought the box and then gone back in time and bought an image like from the past 4 or 5 years to go in the box. And then now they're going to add going forward. I actually had one client who had so many photos, she had to buy 2. She's had to buy volume 2 already, because she's been with me for all 15 years. So, but anyway, so that was fun. Let me tell you, going back 15 years to try and ooh, looking at my Christmas photos from 15 years ago. They're not as good as they are now. So that was, well, I will put those in the bottom of the box and we'll work our way up. Anyways, the box is great and clients love it. And so, yeah, we sell it empty and then they add to it. And so our Christmas sessions, every year, I do one, somebody asked, I do one theme a weekend. So, and then we do one that's all month of November. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 sessions plus Santa.
Wow. All right. Somebody's asking, where do you buy the box, Jeanine? So,
I buy those boxes from 3XM.
Which just happens to be us, right?
Yes.
You can get those boxes at 3XM Solution. And we have people who use different boxes, right? We have people who use our metallic boxes, and we have people who used our window box, Jeanine, because if you think of the idea of, if it's been swapped out each year, you can have this year's portrait on display.
Yes.
And then they take out down the box and they can see the previous years,
Yeah, definitely.
So there's so many different ways to do a folio box, and that's the beauty about a folio box. It's something you can add to, take from, rotate, and so it has that flexibility that you don't get with an album. It's different than an album in that way. That an album is more where you're, like you talked about your wizarding sessions, where you're building a story and it's a book and it's based on something that's around a book and stuff like that. That's different, right? That's album territory. But a folio box is a great way to, one, bring clients back over and over again and sell them that idea of a legacy box. And, most clients will buy more than one because you sell them the idea that they want to keep one, and then they've one for a gift for each of the kids, that leave. When they leave home, then they've got their Santa story to share with, hopefully, your future grandchildren and their children.
Absolutely. And someone asked if I could go over the way I price it. So I price the box empty. So I have a set price and I say, buy your portrait box that you'll be able to keep your Christmas photos in over, the past and future years. And then every year they come in, they purchase the matted print to go inside. And I tell them they lock in the price right now. It might be, whatever it is. And then they lock that price in for life. And so as our prices go up year over year or whatever they might be, they would still pay today's prices for the matted prints to fill that box.
But you're not just selling them for Christmas, the matted print, right? You're selling multiple products.
Oh yeah. God, no. It's not just that. So they can't just buy that. We have minimum. We do for Christmas. We do create a package, and so there's 3 steps to it. So step 1, they can buy a print or a digital collection. Step 2, we have artwork, and that's framed art or canvas art for your walls, and then mini art, which is our 4x10 collages and 10x10 collages. And then Christmas ornaments and little mini albums and things like that. And those are all, we design all of our templates to match our sets. So and then we sell those 4x10 frames. So a lot of people will buy those collages again to, distribute through their frames throughout their house and switch those out from the different sets. And then step 3 is Christmas cards. So you have to buy all 3 steps to get the discount and to be able to buy your matted print. You can't just come in and buy the matted print for the box.
Alrighty, so Jeanine, you're also, because we've got, for those who don't know, so we've 3XM Solution, which is our product, We also have a gallery solution there. And then the other piece is our marketing BSA, where we teach photographers how to market, right?
Right.
And our principle is, we want to help photographers from lead to sale. And we do that through training, we do that through software, and we do that through products, right? That's sort of our journey. And today we're on the 3XM piece of it. But we should talk a little bit about BSA because they link together, right? Because here's an important thing for people who don't know. There are BSA members here, but Jeanine, I don't know where you get the time, Jeanine, by the way, because I've seen no one work as long and hard as you. I work long and hard, but oh my gosh, I've seen no one work as long and hard as you do. But Jeanine, talk to us about how you became a BSA mentor. So you're a BSA mentor and why you did that, and where do you even get the time for it with running the busy studio too?
Well, you're so much fun, Ronan. I'd rather spend my day with you. Where was it? It was like right at the start of COVID. And well, even going back before that. So obviously I was selling the 3XM boxes, and then it was, my timeline is so off because of 2020. So it was the year before that. Jonathan, your son, was working on a funnel system, a lead magnet funnel system, and was working on a course, and needed a photographer to run the sample, like to run the course by and to be as a test person. And Jonathan knew I was doing the first birthday sessions because I was selling the boxes for the toddler plan. So he's like, would you like to be my guinea pig? I'm like, sure. Another way to bring clients into the studio. Of course, I'll be your guinea pig. So I started working with Jonathan as he was developing out the lead gen magnet course for first birthday sessions. Developed that lead magnet and developed that funnel and started booking my first birthday sessions in that way. And then COVID hit, shut everything down. You started BSA, you and Brad and Jonathan. And I think you guys realized that you needed to have a fun American spirit on your team. And it couldn't be all gentlemen from the UK. So anyway, I think... and Ireland.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when you called and asked if I wanted to come on and be a mentor, and obviously Brad and Jonathan have the whole expertise in Facebook lockdown, but the idea of having someone come in and being able to talk about different marketing ideas and creative ways to do different things in your studio, and also understand Facebook and how it all works. So so I joined the team, the BSA team, back last May. Can't believe it's been that long.
May, 12 months.
May, yeah, so it's been 18 months.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And we have what,
crazy.
200 plus photographers now around the world learning.
Well, what was funny is when you sold it to me, I was like, hey, come do this while you're locked down and don't have your studio to run. I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. It's a way to make some money while I'm not shooting. And then it never went away. And so now like BSA is, sorry, I didn't mean to not go. Well, we have so much fun joking about our nationalities anyway. So
we did.
But what was I gonna say? Anyways, but yeah, no. So as the photography came back in, BSA was still there, and so it's been great. I love doing both, and it's made me focus on the business in a different way, as opposed to thinking strictly as photography. I've now taken on another photographer. And trying to get her to do as much as possible, so it frees me up more time to do BSA mentoring, but still obviously keep my hand in the photography but take on more of a creative director role and creating the sets and creating the themes and creating the storylines and the products and the sales systems, and then having her do a lot of the photography. So
all right, and just talk to us about because you're really into automation, right? Just talk to us about how the funnels have even allowed you bring some automation to your marketing, even for existing clients, right? Because
so many of our BSA members use the funnel strictly to get new clients, right? Well, my studio is a little bit different in that most of my clients are repeat, like 70-ish, 80-ish% of my clients are repeat clients. So I have a couple of entry points into the studio, like we talked about, first birthday, some of the themes. Those are all entry points in the studio, but everything else is booked from existing clients. And so I use my funnels to automate that booking process. And so I create booking funnels that's basically a landing page that has the sales information about the session, the types of products we're going to offer from it, And then it's like, if you want to book it now, click here, and they pay for it right there. Sends them the confirmation. Some of the sets will have them pick their time. Most of the time, I still prefer for us to do that because of kids and ages and not wanting to have a group of 4 kids right after a 2-year-old. And, you know, kids photographers get what I'm saying. So I like to control who's coming in when. So we still handle that part manually on the phone. But everything else is automated. The session confirmations and then all the emails that go out to them is automated through our funnel system. And so once they book a specific session, so say like they booked Wizards, they are now put into a sequence of like 5 to 6 emails that they'll get between when they book and when they come in, that helps further the excitement of coming in for the session. This is one reason we don't have people not show ever, unless it's COVID related or some kind of sickness related. But our no show, it's only sickness. We don't have people not show up because they weren't excited to come. And generally when photographers, when I hear that, and especially in our mentor calls and with BSA, when people are having an issue with people not showing up for sessions, it's a lack of excitement. And so when you automate that process, if you have to do it, if you have to remember to do it, it's not going to happen, right? So you have to automate the excitement emails that go to them, and also the physical mail, right? I'm a big believer in physical mail. So anyway, so we use funnels to automate the booking with our existing clients, and so we do use phones as well. So we do call before a session is released. We'll call our VIP clients and let them know, hey, we have a new theme coming out. Your child's the perfect age for it. Before we sent the email out to the database, and then before we launch it on social media, we wanted to give you first right. You know, if you want us to do this session, and we take very good notes, so that way we can tag all our clients and I know who to call. And so we will call all of our clients first. So like if on a marketing plan, like there's 1 week designated to phone calls, then the next week is when we send the email. Then after that, whatever we don't fill, we'll run an ad for on Facebook.
And Claire asks, like, how do you keep the excitement? Oh, I'm muted?
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay, I didn't mute myself. There must be something going on with my sound system. I apologize. So Claire asked about how you keep the excitement going, and you explained a little bit about it there, right, in how you do it, your email nurturing. But you do it through everything. So even the images that you use for Santa, right? You've a picture with you and Santa's calling you his favorite photographer, right?
I am Santa. I'm Santa's helper and his favorite photographer.
There you go.
I have shirts for
everything. But it doesn't matter which theme it is. It's all in, right? It's
all in. And so we have, and sorry, I just got something in my eye. And our social media accounts. So like some of you guys who have asked about like Minecraft and stuff, you can go see and run it. If there's a way I'd be happy to share some of those images too, if people want to see. But leading up to specific sessions on Instagram, I'm always posting little things that are more lifestyle kind of related to it. And then getting people excited for it. If even silly little things like on Facebook, we have our first Christmas theme is a nutcracker theme. So a week ago, I was at Hobby Lobby buying a couple of extra nutcrackers for decorations. And I took a picture of me hugging a giant nutcracker and posted it. I'm like, hey, everybody, guess where I'm at? You know, Facebook loves that kind of stuff. They love when you post community content. It gets shown more. It's not considered like ads. And so it gets shown more. People interact with it more. And it just builds that excitement. If people see that you're excited, and everybody knows I love Christmas. Everybody knows I love everything, actually. So everything that we do, I have excitement for, and that excitement is contagious. And so I will post pictures of me getting ready for the set, shopping for the set, drinking a coffee that's themed with the set, and so like everything that comes out of the studio leading up to a session or a specific theme relates to that theme. And it just
even the snacks that they have when they visit the studio, right? Even the snacks are theme related.
Yes, the snacks also relate to the theme. So it just kind of all goes along with it.
So think Disney, guys. This is not about, bringing clients in front of a green screen and the studio. The rest of the studio is the same, regardless of what we're doing. This is, and it doesn't cost a fortune to do this, Jeanine. There is an investment, but you can do simple things just to make it relevant that people remember, like the dinosaur footprints, through the studio.
You can do various things. When we do our dinosaur sessions, I got on Amazon, they have the little footprint decals. And so I put the dinosaur footprints from the door leading to the studio. And when the kids enter through the door, we give them a giant magnifying glass, tell them they have to follow the footprints to find where we're going to be taking their pictures. And then we hide their excavation dinosaur eggs that every child gets. And so we hide one in the set for their session, and they go find that first. And it's okay to do parts of your session that you don't even photograph. I'm not photographing the kid's butt, like bent down looking for the dinosaur egg, but it's what gets them excited about being there for the session, is hunting for their egg. And so they're doing that, and then we pose them, and then we do the story after they've already walked in and got excited. So there's little things like that. Again, they're kids. It's easy to excite them. You just have to get down on their level and think like they do, and think about what would excite them.
I mean, so many people are interested in seeing some of the images. So I think what we'll do, with your permission, right, if this is okay, is next week we will create a little gallery on 3XM of some images that you're willing to share.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then we can send a link to those images to everyone who attended, so they can see them. So expect that next week, guys. It'll take a little bit of time just to get that organized, but we will do something like that for you. All righty. Any last questions for Jeanine before we could talk all night, couldn't we, Jeanine?
I know, we could talk all night. It's fun. I love having conversations.
We have a BSA Inner Hive for all of our members.
We do have Inner Hive, but Brad is talking for most of that one, so it'll give my voice a rest, which will be nice. But yeah, no, we do have an Inner Hive coming up in about an hour and a half.
All right. So stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Thank you so much for your business. Thank you, Jeanine, for everything you do for so many photographers. You know, Jeanine is a great believer in our mission, which is creating a healthier society through photography. You know, because the work that you all do, whether it's family portraiture, whether it's glamour makeover, whether it's family portraiture, whether it's what Jeanine does, it doesn't matter, right? The end effect of the work you do is you empower people. The end effect of the work you do is you give children confidence. You capture those special relationships that remind people of what's important. In fact, many photographers bring families back together again, you know, and capture those important relationships. And that can even be with a pet or a dog. It doesn't matter, right? But the end result of that is people are happier when they see your work. And that happiness, right, makes people healthier in mind, body, and spirit. So the work you do amplifies that. So thank you for the work you do. We will support you with that in any way we can, through training to help you generate more marketing leads, through software, and through products that help you increase your sales. We're here for you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you so much again, Jeanine.
You're welcome, Ryan. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.